Good evening. Welcome, Mr. Haas, Mr. Kerr, Mrs. Davila, members of the board, parents, students, family, friends, and graduates of the class of 2020 to our 15th and first virtual commencement of Abby Kelley Foster Charter Public School. My name is Chris Chrysonis, and I am the high school principal. We are happy to celebrate this special evening with all of you, and we are very proud of the class of 2020. Please stand as senior Caitlin No, with the accompaniment of Mr. O'Brien and Mr. Shannon, sing the national anthem and our Star Spangled Banner. And now, Abby's anthem. Thank you, Caitlin. Welcome. I know this is not your normal ceremony. We wanted to honor our seniors in the best way that we could. Seniors, although this is not how things were drawn up for you when we spoke on our first day of the high school on August 24th, 2016 in the gymnasium, but it is just another bump in the road that this class needs to and will conquer. While this pandemic has affected your graduation and the end of your senior year, this class will always be remembered as the one that persevered and graduated during COVID-19 pandemic. Another first for you will be that you are the first class, and hopefully the last, to ever graduate from Abby Kelley Foster High School virtually. The class of 2020 is a well-rounded class that has worked to improve all aspects of Abby Kelley. So many of you were involved in a variety of extracurricular and academic activities that have helped you become the young men and women you are today. Many of you have been here for 13 years, starting all the way back in kindergarten. There is a community here at Abby Kelley that doesn't exist everywhere. You have learned about each of your character virtues and tried to demonstrate them in the best way that you could. There is no question those character virtues will guide you as you move forward in life. As we progress through this evening of celebration for our graduates, it we want to take a moment to thank the parents and families of our graduates. As parents, you chose to send your child to Abby Kelley Foster Charter Public School. Tonight, that choice many years ago will have the reward of your child becoming an Abby Kelley graduate. The choice you made and the work throughout the years that we have done together has allowed these kids to grow academically, socially, and spiritually. The members of the class of 2020 have grown into fine young men and women who will make strong citizens in our community. We are very proud of each and every one of them. As the principal of the high school, I've often been told about each class as they enter into their journey at the high school and what to expect from them. While the comments are often given without me requesting them, I find myself not wanting to make decisions about groups that I don't even know yet. On my first day with you back in 2016, I challenged this group to shake any negativity associated with their class and to focus on all those positives. I told you that the next 4 years would present many challenges and obstacles that would test you day in and day out. I told you to recognize that we all have our good days and bad days. That's why we give you 180 of them. That you need to build on those good days and learn from those bad ones. Many of you have taken this advice and worked hard at it. Some right up until today to challenge yourself to be a better person and to make the most of your high school experience. As I often say, high school was one of my most favorite times in my life, and the experience is what you make of it. If I could go back to high school, I would do it in a heartbeat. Because even though I didn't realize it then, I learned so many things about myself and from those experiences that have shaped me into the person I am today. Seniors, I hope that Abby Kelley has done that for you. Remember that just because something was hard, or you didn't like the answer or the outcome, that you hopefully learned from the experience and became a better person from it. If you take that approach with you into life after Abby Kelley, you will find that you can do great things. You'll be able to grow because of your life experience. You will have the opportunity to listen, observe, and evaluate each situation in a professional and adult manner. This in turn will help you see the world and all it has to offer you. You will then be able to do your best to make your mark in that world. You will then be able to continue to strive for greatness and make the most of each encounter, person, and opportunity that presents itself to you. In closing, it's been quite a ride for this class. I'm sorry that things had to go this way and we had to have a virtual ceremony, but we are doing the best we can for you, and you have been nothing but spectacular during this time. I know this isn't how you wanted things to end, and neither did any of us, but don't let this define you. Learn from what this pandemic has created. Adjust to the new norm and be a leader in it. I leave you with these lyrics from Jackie DeShannon. I would sing them for you, but I wouldn't want to show up any of our music staff. What the world needs now is love, sweet love. It's the only thing that there's just too little of. What the world needs now is love, sweet love. No, not just for some, but for everyone. Be safe, everyone, and congratulations. You will now hear from our valedictorian, Hina Kramer, who will be attending UMass Amherst, and our salutatorians, Michaela Renaud Lauder, who is attending the College of the Holy Cross on a full academic scholarship, and Grace Schwartz, who is attending Brandeis University. This will be followed by the graduates being honored, and then our faculty remarks from Mr. Brian Haas, our outgoing executive director. Mr. Haas will be heading to Maynard next year to be their superintendent. We would like to thank him for all that he has done to help and support Abby Kelley in his many years here, especially during this pandemic and this time of uncertainty. He will be missed as a leader, friend, and true supporter of Abby Kelley and her mission. I hope you enjoy the rest of the ceremony and have a great evening.
Good evening, Mr. Haas, Mr. Crusonis, Mr. Kerr, Mrs. Davila, members of the board, parents, students, family, friends, and fellow graduates of the class of 2020 who have tuned into this virtual ceremony. I want to start off by saying that none of this should have happened. Instead of walking across the stage in Mechanics Hall, we have gathered together within the confines of our bedrooms and our living rooms. We have spent the last 3 months in isolation, when we should have spent them together, in person, enjoying our last moments together as high schoolers. We watched as the grades preceding us experienced milestone events, such as their senior prom, their last performances in the school musical or the spring concert, their class trip, and finally, their high school graduation. We patiently waited for our time to walk the stage, only to find that a global pandemic would put a screeching halt to that plan. This is all wrong. It is easy to feel cynical at a time like this. It is easy to feel as though all of the events that we had been looking forward to are now nothing more than an empty memory. I understand the disappointment that my fellow graduates and I may carry with us, but this speech is not meant to send us into further dejection. Allow me to shine some positivity into this situation. In our participation in the social distancing policy, we are helping to save lives. We are doing our part to get through an unprecedented global crisis. While we may have to stay at least 6 feet apart from each other, we have never been more connected before in the history of time. We are surrounded by technology that gives us the ability to communicate with anyone regardless of location. We are far from alone. The fact that we are able to hold a graduation ceremony at all is a testimony to how fortunate we are in these trying times. We always said that the class of 2020 was one for the books. Well, this graduation is most definitely one to remember. There are several reasons to be disappointed about the circumstances that we have found ourselves in, but these reasons should not make you any less proud of all that you have accomplished. With that being said, I refuse to let COVID-19 sully the conclusion of 13 years of schooling at Abby Kelley Foster. Let me remind us all that we have only missed our last 2 months of high school. Seeing as most of us have attended Abby Kelley since 2007, a few months should not be so significant. Our accomplishments of over a decade's work cannot be dismissed by such a minuscule amount of time. We are stronger than that. As a class, we share several memories and challenges that are unique to the Abby Kelley class of 2020 experience. As a class, we endured the strange desk-flipping phase of elementary school, played spoons endlessly throughout middle school, and somehow made Crocs trendy in high school. As a class, we made it through the 2 most infamously difficult classes of freshman year, Miss Potter's literature class and Mr. Morse's history class. That was our so-called rite of passage into high school, and it only got harder from there. During our sophomore year, we all collectively experienced the eternal struggle that was Miss Nading's chemistry class, and the stress that came with taking one of Mr. Chisholm's quizzes without having read the assigned chapters ahead of time. Through our junior and senior years, we all faced the uphill battle of fitting jobs, IB coursework, dual enrollment programs, clubs, sports, and applying to college into our busy schedules. Some of us have faced external challenges that have made high school infinitely more difficult, but you can take pride knowing that you have pulled through and made it to the end. We have so much to be proud of and so many people that deserve recognition for getting us here. I want to acknowledge my parents, who gave me endless support and motivation to get through high school, and my siblings, who have given me so much to look up to, or, in my younger sister's case, has given me the determination to be a better role model. I want to thank Mr. Shannon for filling in as the class advisor when we didn't have one at the end of freshman year. Despite the questionable reputation our class had earned from middle school, he openly took our class in and made a positive impact on all of the seniors. I also want to thank Miss Potter, Mrs. Reynolds, Miss Chasen, Miss Rodriguez, Mr. Gitkind, Mr. Lemire, and Miss Rodas, my full IB teachers. From the headache-inducing theory of knowledge conversations with Mr. Gitkind to all of the history jokes made with Mrs. Reynolds, I am appreciative of all of the memories and wisdom that I have received from these teachers. Lastly, I want to acknowledge my fellow full diploma students who shared the weight of the stresses and workload of the IB program with me. High school certainly was not easy. In fact, it felt equivalent to running on a treadmill where the pace is gradually increasing. However, that is why we should be most proud of where we are standing now. Despite how long we had been running, or how difficult it was to keep up with the pace, or how tired we felt at times, we never let ourselves get launched off the treadmill. We kept running. It is with this same motivation and spirit that we will get through the next stages of our lives. The treadmill may only get faster as life goes on, so whatever it is you may do next, just do not forget to keep on running. Congratulations to my fellow graduates of the class of 2020. I am so excited to see what we will accomplish next. Thank you.
Good afternoon and welcome, Mr. Haas, Mr. Kersonis, Mr. Kerr, Mrs. Davila, members of the board, parents, teachers, friends, and family. To my fellow graduates of the class of 2020, I dedicate this speech to you. Being at home for the last 2 months has given me the opportunity to reflect on my past here at Abby Kelley. I've made so many unforgettable memories that I'll cherish long after high school. I remember in first grade, everyone being so excited for the new playground. Even though for most of the year, we only got to play on the small chunk of grass next to the elementary school because of the construction, it was a small price to pay for a turf field, gorgeous slides, many swings, and the infamous sway fun. I remember being super anxious to take our first round of MCAS tests in 3rd grade, and how the breakfast they served was so much better than what we usually got because it came in a cool box. I remember walking into Allen's uniforms the summer before 5th grade with my mom. I smiled the entire time, beaming with joy, as I was finally a blue shirt, a real middle schooler. Flash forward 2 weeks. I can still hear my mom's voice telling me to stand next to my locker on the first day of 5th grade as she began to take my picture. I remember packing and repacking my duffel bag about 100 times the few days before nature's classroom. I wanted to make sure I had everything I could possibly need and that I wouldn't forget anything. Even though it rained the whole time, I was always ready for the next adventure, whether it was doing a dissection, going on nature walks in the middle of the dark, or a game of tag with the entire camp. Whenever I think about how the counselors there made us sing the Or Report song before we ate our next meal, I laugh. I remember picking out my dress and getting my hair done for the 8th grade semi-formal. The smell of pepperoni pizza, taste of orange Fanta, and sound of Drake's newest album, Views, always brings me back to this day. I remember coming in a day before the rest of the grades to meet all of our freshman teachers and learn how to open our lockers. I'm not going to lie. I was a little scared of what the first year of high school would bring. Between having harder classes, strict teachers, and needing to find a new table to sit at during lunch. We may share some of these memories or none at all. Each and every one of us, being unique individuals with different friends and different lives, have memories that we can call our own. From things like going out with friends to that one specific restaurant, having sleepovers and making about 1 billion inside jokes in the process, or taking memorable trips, we each have experiences that we can look back on and feel the happiness that was with us in the moment. However, one thing that brings us all together is that none of these memories would have been possible if we weren't part of the Abby Kelley class of 2020. In all honesty, being a part of this class means a lot to me, from all the friendships I've made and conversations I've had. Most of us have been together since kindergarten, and how many people can say that they know everyone's name in their class? That's something I'm truly grateful for. There have been many instances throughout high school where I've seen our class grow and bond together. In sophomore year on Culture Day, we were the best looking class, hands down. What other grade has managed to organize and pull off matching t-shirts as good as our class? I sure couldn't tell you. I vividly remember Mr. Shannon herding us on the field, making sure that we took a picture together, which I still have to this day. That same year, we had our lock-in. Planning it with the other officers, we were a little worried about how well the potluck was going to turn out, but you guys amazed us. We had so much great food that we even ended up with leftovers. Everyone pitched in, and it really made me feel like our class meant something to each other. Seeing everyone having fun and really enjoying themselves made me feel like I helped to create something meaningful for my class, and for that, I'm very thankful. Junior year was prom, and our class really showed up. By far, you guys looked the best out of any other class I've seen. I didn't even go to prom, but I remember sitting in my room, avoiding my open SAT review books and scrolling through Instagram. I was marveling at how amazing everyone in our grade looked. You guys really did that. Not being able to have a prom this year, I'm kind of sad that I didn't go. Bet you never thought you'd hear me say that, Mr. Shannon. Even though we haven't been together these last few months, we have been for upwards of 12 years. All the memories that we have can't be taken away. Missing major milestones has only made me realize how precious my time at Abby Kelley was. Each and every experience I've had here, the good, the bad, and the ugly, is something to hold on to. I know that we all have had a journey through high school of which we can call our own, but the commonality is that each of our paths were made and shaped here, inside the walls of Abby Kelley. I want to end by emphasizing something that I feel is really important. No matter where we go, what we accomplish, or who we become, being part of the Abby Kelley class of 2020 is what brings us together, and that is something special. Thank you.
Good evening, Mr. Haas, Mr. Chrysonis, Mr. Kerr, Mrs. Davila, members of the board, parents, students, family, friends, and graduates of the class of 2020. On behalf of the senior class, I'd like to start off with a few thank yous. To Mr. Chrysonis, Mr. Kerr, Mrs. Davila, and the rest of the Abby Kelley staff, administration, and members of the board, thank you. Thank you for putting up with me and my infamously difficult class since we set foot in the high school on Bump Up Day 4 years ago. I know we've not always been an easy group to deal with, so on behalf of my class, I'd like to thank you for your patience, guidance, and unwavering support. To all of the extremely hardworking teachers we've encountered during our time at Abby Kelley, thank you for not only being incredible educators who never shy away from a challenge, but for also being compassionate people and great listeners when that's what we needed most. As time passes, I'll probably become a little rusty on trigonometry, Shakespeare's writing, and the Russian Revolution. Sorry, Mrs. Haug, but I'll always remember the laughs we've shared and the memories we've made. To the parents, grandparents, guardians, and anyone else that's played a role in raising us, no matter how big or small, we thank you. Your words of advice, encouragement, and tough love have molded us into the people we are today. Whether it was packing our lunches, driving us to school, or consistently asking about our day with a smile, like my mom did for 13 years, I promise that your routine acts of kindness and selflessness have not gone unnoticed. I've spent the last 13 years of my life at Abby Kelley. The most recent of those years were spent in the IB program, always worrying about the next assignment, the next exam, the next checkbox, and a seemingly endless list of things I needed to complete. Oftentimes, I found myself floating through life, stuck in a routine of always worrying about what was next and failing to enjoy the moment I was in before it escaped me. Now, I'm not telling you this because I have anything against the IB program. Believe me, I don't. But I do want to take a minute to acknowledge the friendships, laughs, and memories that might have come a little earlier, but that have truly been some of the most memorable parts of my AKF experience. It feels like it was only yesterday that my dad was practically dragging me down the elementary school halls on the first day of kindergarten. Even now, he makes jokes about just how tiny my steps were. I really did not want to go. That year, our class field trip was supposed to be to Davis Farmland, but of course, it rained. We ended up going to see a movie and stopped at McDonald's on the way back to get a Happy Meal. As a 6-year-old, I thought this was amazing, but come to find out, a lot of my classmates were actually pretty disappointed. When 4th grade rolled around, a surprising number of us signed up to perform in Abby's Cafe, which was our school's version of a talent show. I say a surprising amount because looking back on it, it feels like everyone, including me, wanted to sing, dance, or show off some talent that no one even knew they had. Nathania Renate and I decided to sing Bust Your Windows by Jasmine Sullivan. Looking back, 8 years later, I have no idea what we were thinking, but rehearsing in Mrs. Orr's class and meeting up at Target to buy our performance outfits are definitely moments I'll never forget. I think it's pretty safe to say that 5th grade was a year of change for a lot of us. A new building, still with no AC, new classroom rotations, and new friendships. That year, Abby and I grew really close, and at the same time, even more competitive. We would race to finish our math problems and assigned readings so that we could spend the rest of class competing in organized fit championships with Nick and Ife. In 7th grade, we got to spend a week together in the woods at Nature's Classroom, and I have to say, it was definitely an experience like no other. I'm sure we all have slightly different memories from that week, but it was one of the few times that practically our whole class was together outside of school, which was both super chaotic and a lot of fun. In the big cabin, we all stayed up late, running around, telling scary stories. I'm sure that the teacher that had to sleep upstairs to keep us quiet didn't have a great time that night, but I know we all did. 8th grade was the year of playing spoons, all the time. When we weren't doing work, you'd definitely find us huddled in small circles, playing really competitive games of spoons, using dry erase markers, pens, highlighters, or whatever else we could find. And if you were lucky, you'd get through an entire game without Kristen trying to team up with the person next to her. Next year, we entered the high school, and finally, we had air conditioning. But we also had Miss Potter's essays and Mr. Morse's tests to deal with. We finally made it to sophomore year, just to be confronted with an even bigger challenge, chemistry. We pushed through practical exams, lab reports, and huge projects, and ended the year at our sophomore lock-in, which I'm still kind of surprised we were able to pull off. This was another rare moment when almost our whole class was together in one place, and it was one of my favorite moments of all of high school. I don't remember what music was playing, what food I ate, or the content of my conversations, but I do remember the feeling. The feeling of being surrounded by people that I've quite literally grown up with and who have made my time at this school truly special. These moments that I've spent with you, the class of 2020, have meant more to me than any academic award, honor, or achievement, and for that, I'm forever grateful. So if I could give you any advice going forward, it would be to never merely exist. Too often we find ourselves absent-mindedly floating through our own lives, so be deliberate about the choices you make, the relationships you keep, and the things that you make time for. Ask questions about the world around you, and most importantly, about yourself and your own perspective. The world we live in today is extremely fast-paced and almost always prioritizes efficiency, so allow yourself to slow down and appreciate the people around you. It might have taken me a while to learn this lesson myself, but it's helped me to truly reflect on and appreciate the moments that we've spent together as a class. Before I wrap things up, I'd like to take a moment to acknowledge a few of the most influential and inspiring people in my life. Mom, thank you so much for putting up with me for all of these years. You're truly the definition of a strong, independent woman, and you couldn't have set a better example for me growing up. You've taught me what it means to work hard for what I want and to not give up until I get it. Dad, you're hands down one of the funniest people I know, but I'm hesitant to compliment you on your sense of humor because I don't want it to go to your head. All jokes aside, you've shown me that it's important not to take life too seriously and that no problem is the end of the world, even if it feels that way. Thank you both for always supporting me in everything I do. And lastly, Mr. Shannon, you've truly been an incredible role model and friend to me these last few years. I've never met someone who expresses their care for others as openly and wholeheartedly as you do. I'm fully convinced that you touch the lives of everyone you meet and leave them a little happier and a little kinder than you found them. Thank you for swooping in and taking our class under your wing sophomore year. I really don't know what we would have done without you. I'll truly miss sitting in your room after school every day and chatting at basketball games together, but I'm sure you'll be seeing my face plenty even once college starts. Class of 2020, thank you again for the priceless moments we've shared over the last 13 years. This class is full of incredibly unique, loud, passionate, bright, and energetic individuals. As I'm sure all of our teachers would agree, you've made a resounding impact on the Abby Kelley community, and I'm certain that you will make an even bigger mark on our world. In the words of the late Toni Morrison, as you enter positions of trust and power, dream a little before you think. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. I am Brian Haas, the Executive Director of our school. Welcome, parents, relatives, teachers, staff, and friends of the graduating class of 2020 to our 15th commencement of Abby Kelley Foster Charter Public School. We are excited to celebrate this special evening with all of you, and we are very proud of the class of 2020. I'd like to acknowledge some of the key people involved in this graduation and your educational experience while at Abby Kelley Foster Charter School. Miss Amy Emma, the principal of the elementary school. Miss Jen Justo, the assistant principal at the elementary school. Miss Amy Pugliafico, the middle school principal. Mr. Brian Giro, the middle school assistant principal. Mr. Rob Kerr, the high school assistant principal. And Mr. Christopher Kersonis, high school principal. And all the teachers, counselors, staff that have helped you along your educational path. And this year, in particular, I needed more support from our IT director than ever before, so a big thank you to Mr. John Calabrese. But graduation is really about you, the graduates, and your accomplishments. As a class, you have experienced a wide range of experiences while at Abbey Kelley. Most recently, the COVID pandemic, which has changed your senior year in ways none of us expected. This is truly a moment in history that you will remember forever. You didn't have the opportunity to celebrate as expected. For that, we are all disappointed. Every class deserves to be celebrated. We are doing our best to celebrate you now and in the coming days. Recently, I read American Dirt, which provides one perspective of the immigrant experience. The story is about a mother and her son who are on a journey from Mexico, trying to get to America, where they hope to be safe. There are many lessons to be learned from this story, but one that resonates with me today is that even in incredibly trying times, one can survive and be successful. Which brings me back to all of you today. Now is the time to make an investment in yourself. There are many ways to do this. One path that we're well familiar with is education, knowledge. Whatever path you choose, all options have something in common: gaining knowledge. You will get paid for what you know. So be knowledgeable. You all have options to make this investment in yourself. You can go to community college and then transfer to a four-year college. You can go directly to a four-year college or university. You can work and go to school part-time. But however you decide to do it, as the Nike slogan says, just do it. Or as the Patriots mantra goes, just do your job. The theme is that it is your responsibility. You have the skills from what you have learned thus far. Now it's up to you to continue the path, to become your own boss, to become a leader, to be somebody. This pandemic is an opportunity for all of us, especially for you. What will the new normal be? Will life go back to what it was a few short months ago? We don't know the answers today, and we may not know for quite some time. But you are part of the future and can help create the new reality. What will education look like? How will we incorporate social distancing into all aspects of our lives? Can remote work make us more efficient? Maybe you will be involved in finding a vaccine for this new virus, or you will create social programs, or software programs, or businesses that are necessary as a result of our new, yet to be determined normal. This is your time. It is your time to move forward. High school is over, and the next step starts right now. Finally, be strong in your beliefs and stick with your convictions. It is how you will each find your own way. Graduates, we are proud of each and every one of you. Good luck.
Anthony John Abusamra. Marcelino Emil. Kristen Iowa Amua. Ramona Ose Ansong. Natalia Nunez Arujo. Ariana Afua Nyarko Asoma. Judith Nkansa Ba. Juliet Nkansa Ba. David Bamfo. Katie Lynn Benson. Lloyd Boama Burko. Richard Arthur Boateng. Richmond Gayabor Boateng. Michelle Quartzema Brempong. Lourdes Jasmine Calderon Cabrera. Nazaris Cruz. Dominic Daniel DeStefano. Melvin Kwache Donkor. Kala Rebecca Grand Dresser. Tyler Robert Dupree. Genevette Liz Marie Echevarria. Shantai Rebecca Espino. Nalia Patrice Evans. Liane Figueroa. Seth Adam Gain. Aaron Elijah Janus. Maximus John Wolfgang Gerten. Annalise Ariana Hazard. Jonathan James Hernandez. Marilyn Amarachi Mang Ifegwu. Fox Trenton Yurgil. Patience Manda Cassini. Beverly Bamfoy Kissy. Alexis Kodria. Marek Konopka. Hina Rose Kramer. Abigail Selena Martel. Jacob William McElroy. Rebecca Elizabeth Melendez. Lena Mwangi. Miles Alvin Mina Mwangi. Thomas Narusevichus. Amy No. John Tung No. Caitlin No. Ya Chiriwa Nkansa. Isaac Kwame Nsia. Zayetsi Lenoshka Nunez. Jeremy J.D. Nazolillo. Alejandra Obregon. Edward Wilson Ugbarme Teta Jr. Christian Michael Orr. Jeremiah Nana Kwame Osei. Janelle Agnes Owusu. Gilbert Owusu Ansah. Nathania Naja Pabaru. Anna Carmen Paquette. Renate Suzertha Potvien. Miwa Janae Prieto. Xavier Solomon Pyatt. Michaela Cheryl Renault Lowther. Clivert Restrepo. Dominic Mackenzie Shin Rogers. Hamilton Mackenzie Shin Rogers. Eric Joseph Rosenlund. Zoe Vida Ryan Williams. Annabelle Santiago. Taylor Grace Sargent. Mathina Abramoa Sarkodia. Ariana Kulba Asha Sarpi. Grace Lillian Schwartz. Nicholas Thurston Solomon. Katiana Alish Swenson. Angeline Ruth Tado. Giovanni Lee Thomas. Alex Figueiredo Torres. Justin William Torres. Brittany Theda Tufor. Zachariah Craig Vance. Olivia Marie Vancelette. Dahlia Esther Wamboy. Mitchell Logan White. Jacob Dominic Zurecht.